Tonight on News 5 Live, changes coming at the KHMH as senior managers leave, and so do dozens of nurses. Family fears worse in missing fireman case. A police superintendent will be laid to rest in Dangriga, and the BDF has a new commander and flight instructor. Details of these stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Good morning, sweetie. It's time for school.
Are you a teacher or public sector employee who is thinking of owning your new home? Get the keys to your new home with Belize Bank's all-inclusive mortgage, the best financing option in Belize for your new home purchase or construction. Inclusive of all mortgage-related fees, no down payment, affordable terms, amazingly low interest rates. Visit our nearest branch to speak to one of our financial advisors to discuss how you can be one step closer to owning your new home. Some conditions apply.
With the touch of a finger, we can easily unlock our phones and securely gain access to our data. This technology is called biometrics, and the Social Security Board is introducing fingerprint recognition to make transactions and handling of your sensitive data secure, fast, accurate, and convenient. Is your identity safe? Fingerprint recognition will keep your Social Security record secure and confidential while making your access fast and easy. It protects your identity. Is your name a common one? Fingerprint recognition uses your unique characteristics, ensuring your hard-earned benefits go directly to you, the rightful owner. Tired of all the paperwork? Fingerprinting makes this hassle-free. Your convenience and your information security is our priority. Fingerprint recognition coming soon. Social Security at your fingertips.
Introducing Edam A cheese, the A+ Dutch cheese to hit the Belizean market. As the name says, it is of A-class quality, the best Dutch cheese in Belize. Edam A cheese is creamier, less salty, and simply more delicious. Don't be left out. Get your A cheese at a supermarket near you. A cheese exclusively distributed by Unitex Company Limited. Call us at 610-3626 or 610-8910. Follow us on Facebook at Unitex Belize.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening. Welcome to News 5 Live for Friday, June 11th. I am Brighton Codd. It was circulating on social media today, and now it is confirmed. There will be lots of vacancies opening up at the nation's main referral hospital, 4 in upper management. News 5 has confirmed positions will be advertised for Chief Executive Officer, a post formerly held by Michelle Cox-Hoare, the position of Human Resources Manager held by Candice Miller, as well as Nursing Director and Financial Controller. These contracts will not be automatically renewed. According to Chairman of the Board of KHMH, the Financial Controller resigned from the position, citing personal reasons, while the CEO, Human Resources, and Director of Nursing Contracts are expiring this summer.
Those 3 persons, their contracts come to an end in June, in July, and the Human Resource Manager in August. So yes, indeed, those are the 3 positions that are due that come up for renewal, no? Well, the same will be for all other contracts that, particularly for middle and upper management that come due. No? A decision was made at the board level that all contracts would be advertised. And, of course, that means that the present holders of those contracts are welcome to reapply. No? It's a disposition meant to ensure that we have the very best people for those positions, and it in no way reflects any dissatisfaction with the present holders of those contracts. But as a matter of principle, all contracts and all positions now will be advertised.
Chairman Sosa says that these changes are not expected to disrupt administrative services. The KHMH board is expected to meet with the unions this evening to discuss this decision to open up the contracts instead of automatic renewals. As many as 35 nurses, the majority of whom are from the Republic of the Philippines, have resigned from the Carl Huesner Memorial Hospital. They are either returning to their home country after years of service to Belize or pursuing a career in healthcare elsewhere. Over the past week, 6 nurses have resigned from the COVID-19 unit, and several others have served notice that they are leaving within the next 2 months. Among them is Robert Reyes. Since moving to Belize several years ago, Nurse Reyes has faced several challenges, including a steep increase in the cost of a work permit and being told to take an exam even in the midst of COVID-19.
First is the work permit, okay? We have to pay for it in our own pocket. Okay, coming here from the Philippines to Belize is kind of not easy because we pay all the airline ticket in our pocket. The government doesn't even give us any housing or even allowance for those things. We paid for all those things in our own money, okay? And then the increasing payment for the work permit. This is the second time that they are trying to increase the work permit because before they are trying to increase it in 2000. So a group of Filipino nurses went to Belmopan to talk to Pablo Marin for tackle this issue. Okay, they waived that and then they told us just to pay 1,000. Filipino alone who fixed the issue without even helping of our institution. And then this is the second time that in the middle of the pandemic, they asked us to pay 3,000, which is really a lot for us. We paid everything in our own pocket, okay, from extension of visa, extension of work permit, we paid before 100, but now it increased to 200. I already end my contract, okay, because I already had job offer in outside Belize. I have already a job offer, which the government they offer us at least a housing allowance. They offer us a free air ticket, okay? And then they give us more benefits, especially in terms of health, in terms of assurance that we can, that we are looking for, because we want a stable life, we want stability. Because the thing is, we are foreign worker in here, so we are looking for a better future for us and for our family.
You are leaving at a time where we're battling a pandemic, and perhaps there's a notion that there will be a shortage of nurses left in the wake of your departure. Do you have any concerns or consideration as to the time that you choose to leave?
Actually, we do understand the pandemic. We do understand that this happenings right now. But the thing is, imagine, in the middle of the pandemic, they asked us to increase the work permit. And then in the middle of the pandemic, they asked us to take exam. If we don't take it, we will gonna be downgraded, right? So this is the only thing that we already work hard. In the middle of the pandemic, like I work in an isolation area. I work in COVID isolation for the entire COVID pandemic. So I guess now that the pandemic is slowing down, I guess it's time for us to give opportunity for ourselves.
After Minister of Health Michelle Shabat confirmed that nurses are leaving the Carl Huesner Memorial Hospital, the Nurses Association of Belize responded. They say they find the minister's position to be disrespectful to local nurses. According to the president of the association, Darrell Spencer, there is no shortage of Belizean nurses. What there is a shortage of are available posts.
Outsourcing nurses outsourcing nurses is not the primary step to have been taken by the ministry. The problem in Belize is not necessarily that we do not have or enough nurses haven't passed through Belize. The problem is we have a problem a big problem in retention of nurses. So if we continue to increase the suffrage of nurses across the country, we will have to keep importing nurses. And whenever we do that, we lower our standards.
One kind of argue that position is one for further discussion. However, it does not address the current need for nurses where vacant spaces are available.
I understand that, but I will beg to differ. This is not something for further discussion. This is something that needs to be addressed today. This is something that we have been discussing for years, and the ministry keeps dragging its foot. We have quite a bit of nurses in country that do not have a job because the ministry, the government, refuses to increase the amount of available posts for nurses to be hired. That is a fact.
God forbid we step into another wave, another COVID-19 wave with the shortage of nurses. Perhaps it is that the Minister of Health is already considering a contingency plan by bringing in foreign nurses to fill that gap in the event that the country faces another COVID crisis. How can you not support such a contingency plan?
By the comments of the minister, first of all, that is not the purpose to resolve in his contingency plan. A nurse just posted on one of her chats this morning. They are basically saying, you know what? We don't care. If you guys want to leave, you can leave. We have people to substitute for you. And that is the sentiment of the nurse.
We also asked President Spencer if he thinks nurses are leaving the country to serve elsewhere because of better compensation. He says this is not true, and they also feel non-Belizean nurses get better treatment overall.
This is a narrative and a talking point created by, I don't know who, some irresponsible person. The fact is, the vast majority of persons in the country, nurses in this country, are Belizeans. The vast majority of them are seniors. Myself, 30 years in the department. If it were just merely to go and extend to greener pastures, then I wouldn't be here. So there are quite a number of nurses in this country who would want to stay in Belize. The fact that the government is making it more difficult every year has to be discussed. And we need to move away from this ridiculous talking point that people looking for greener pastures. There is a discussion that we can have to make nurses comfortable and want to stay in Belize. After all these people who come in, 90%, 95% of those persons from other countries who come in, they use Belize as a stepping stone, they get experience, they get a license, they get all of these things, perks from the government of Belize to be here while they're here, and then they move on to the same greener pastures. So what the government is doing is sweeten up the package for the foreigners. By the minister or the government waiving a $3,000 work permit fee, do you know what a Belizean nurse could have done with that $3,000? So you're sweetening up the package for a foreigner. When they bring a Cuban delegation, the government has to pay housing, they have to pay transportation, the person is given a stipend. When you add up all of these things, quite a few of these, not a few, quite a lot of them are actually taking home more than what the Belizean nurse can afford to take home. So a foreigner gets better treatment in Belize.
Finally, from the Nurses Association, President Spencer says nurses need clarification on the issue of overtime under the new reduced hours for public officers.
The government has said they are going to do a 10% cut. That is done. And they also said that they are going to cut the work hours by 5. So the week turns to 35 hours. Now let's make sense of nonsense. Your overtime began at 40 hours prior to June 1st. Now your overtime in a department that is already short will start at 35 hours. Unless you're saying that nurses are not privy to enjoying that 5 hours. So we are going to work for 5 hours for the government, basically free. So now for that 5 hours that you used to pay me, like an example, $10, according to the Prime Minister, now they will start paying $15 for those same 5 hours. How is it a discount? The maths is all screwed up and stupid. It makes no financial sense at all.
And with a nurse shortage already in place, how practical is it for nurses to work 35-hour weeks?
I will answer that this way. With the present condition, nurses are being begged to work over 40 hours just to make the system have enough boots on the ground. So now you are going to increase that begging by 5 hours because you will start counting 36 hours now is overtime.
Coming up, the police department prepares to bury one of its own. Details when we come back.
Hello, friends. This is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, The Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die." In studying the Bible, I am often made aware of the mistakes that men make, not just by the ungodly, but the godly. Sooner or later, all of us make mistakes, and how we respond will make us or break us. Albert Einstein said, "A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new." Einstein was a German-born physicist and also a genius who discovered the theory of relativity. When he won the Nobel Peace Prize, Princeton University offered him a free office to come to their university. He agreed, and they asked him what he needed. He said he simply needed a desk, a chair, a table, a pencil and paper, and a very big wastepaper basket. When they asked him why the big wastepaper basket, he replied, "To throw all of my mistakes in." What are you doing with your mistakes? Some time ago, I counseled a young, attractive lady who wanted to become a Christian, but did not think she could because of her past actions and mistakes. I said, your problem is not that Jesus won't forgive you, but you won't forgive yourself. David committed a terrible sin with Bathsheba, but God forgave him. Just remember, mistakes are man-made, but they are God-forgiven. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
The vaccine is now available. We here at R&G Life encourage you to take the vaccine. Belize, it's time to roll up our sleeves.
I'm rolling up mine because I know what COVID can do to families.
Because I want to go back to the way things were.
I'm rolling up mine so that I'm able to do music again.
Because I want to protect my family.
Things are slowly getting back to normal. The new normal, which includes getting vaccinated. Take the opportunity to get vaccinated at the R&G Life Wellness Clinic Day on Friday, June 18th. We will also have blood pressure, cholesterol, and other screenings available. Get vaccinated. Roll up for Believe.
It's a hammer, it's a drill, it's Super Handy Dads. That's right, folks, it's Super Handy Dads month again at Brothers Event. And do we have some super gifts for that super special dad? A Super Handy Dad needs his super tools, And all month long, we're giving you super savings of 15% off all power tools and accessories from Stanley, Black & Decker, DeWalt, Skill, Bosch, and 15% off Santool hand tools and hardware. So come in today to Brothers Habet on Barrack Road for Super Handy Dads Month and pick up those super tools at super savings.
Smart continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to Smart, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardenia Village. We really do appreciate it.
Smart continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your Smart broadband with Smart mobile services. Smart, bringing people together.
Ecological Systems Limited and the government of Belize are heading to court over the lease and rental of the Commerce Bight port in Dangriga. In a release today, Ecological Systems Limited announced that both the lease and rental agreements it entered into with the government of Belize and the Belize Port Authority have been declared null and void. The company says it received a letter from the Belize Port Authority stating that based on the House meeting on May 28, the contracts were terminated with immediate We apologize for the break in transmission, but we now resume our newscast. Recological Systems Limited and the government of Belize are heading to court over the lease and rental of the Commerce Port in Dangriga. In a release today, Recological Systems Limited announced that both the lease and rental agreements it entered into with the government of Belize and the Belize Port Authority have been declared null and void. The company says it received a letter from the Belize Port Authority stating that based on the House meeting on May 28, the contracts were terminated with immediate effect. RSL says that they have been given notice to vacate the premises by Monday, June 14th. But while the company will comply with these instructions, it will not end there. RSL says that based on the advice of their legal counsel, they are taking the Belize Port Authority and the government of Belize to court. A San Ignacio fireman, Peter Jones, has been missing since Monday after he failed to return home that night to his waiting wife and newborn child. The family now fears that their loved one is dead and that a burnt body found on a farm in Esperanza village on Tuesday is his. News 5 spoke to Jones's uncle over the phone.
Last time I see my nephew on Monday, I think me around like around 11. And then he got home, the Esperanza village time, just recently moved down my back. And the last time I think my wife said, I'm like around 3:30. That me going somewhere, she tell her, and no help from her again.
Sir, had he ever reported to anyone, any family members, that he may be having some sort of conflict or beef with anyone?
No. He never did have no problem. No, we never have no problem with no one. He definitely never have no problem with no one. He just get in by selling of vehicles and things like that. So maybe somebody might envy him and maybe set him up and hurt or something like that, no?
What's the family doing at this time? Is there a search party ongoing? What's happening?
No, well, I should be honest too. I know I'm pet and Paul or nothing like that. We ain't got no search party because I honestly feel like mine I should have done that already.
Okay, but I mean the family would want some closure. How do you get that?
We have to wait for the DNA and everything. That really depends on right now.
Okay, so that is in relation to the body found, the burnt body found in Esperanza.
Yes, that's why I feel like that's my nephew's body.
Fallen Police Superintendent Henry Jamat will be laid to rest in Dangriga on Saturday. During Monday's press briefing, ACP Joseph Maivit said many of his fellow officers have been affected by Jamat's death.
As is the norm, when it is a police funeral, they are giving an official funeral, and a small participation is expected from across the country, bearing in mind the COVID measures that are still in place. So, indeed, it is a fallen officer from within our ranks, and we do sympathize with the family of the fallen officers, and indeed some officers who were working with him are being affected as much as a large number of us are being affected by any fallen officer. But yes, indeed, the normal police funeral procedures are being put in place whilst we prepare for that funeral.
Jamat died on the early hours of May 28th at San Pedro while out on a pier with a Canadian woman, Jasmine Harton. According to her statement to police, she claims they were drinking together when Jamat's service revolver accidentally fired, a bullet hitting him in the back of the head. She was charged with manslaughter by negligence and is out on bail pending trial. After the break, it's World Child Labor Day, but what exactly comes under the category of child labor? Find out which jobs are considered okay for children to help their families or learn skills. and which ones can put them in danger or exploit them when we return. But first, here is a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
This COVID update is brought to you by Belize Medical Associates. This COVID update was brought to you by Belize Medical Associates.
Rain or shine, any weather. When we go ball, we go Berger. Quality paint, no faded colors. When we go ball, we go Berger. Let your imagination run free. Any color for this space, when we say ball, that mean it don't peel. Quality in every color, lifetime guarantee. When we go ball, we go Berger. When we go ball, we go Berger. Rain or shine, any color you need. When we go ball, we go Berger.
I strive to give my child the best nutrition, but I know it's not enough. It's also important to protect him. Clim Growing Up or Clim 1 Plus contains prebiotics, vitamins and minerals that help strengthen their immune system, helping them achieve 100% protection plus nutrition. That's why I give my child Clim 1 Plus. Clim, your love, their future. Clim 1 Plus is not a breast milk substitute from 1 year on.
Let the adventure begin with a bottle of Caribbean rum brought to you by Koyo's Distillery Limited.
Smart continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to Smart, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardenia Village. We really do appreciate it.
Smart continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your Smart broadband with Smart mobile services. Smart, bringing people together.
Good morning, sweetie. It's time for school.
Are you a teacher or public sector employee who is thinking of owning your new home? Get the keys to your new home with Belize Bank's all-inclusive mortgage, the best financing option in Belize for your new home purchase or construction. Inclusive of all mortgage-related fees, no down payment, affordable terms, amazingly low interest rates. Visit our nearest branch to speak to one of our financial advisors to discuss how you can be one step closer to owning your new home. Some conditions apply.
The academic year comes to an end later this month, and while students will be on summer vacation, preparations are already underway for the beginning of the new school year. An initiative led by media personality Ursun Picard to provide as many as 300 backpacks is getting off the ground, and he's turning to you to assist with making it possible. Picard is seeking to procure a shipment of school bags which he intends to distribute across Belize City sometime in August, just ahead of the reopening of schools. He stopped by today to share more details on the ongoing effort.
The Back to School Backpack Drive was birthed out of a need to expand social programs that myself and several of my colleagues have embarked upon over the last couple of months. And so we know that we are living in financially tough times, exacerbated by last year's onset of the global pandemic and all that comes along with that. Those of us who can assist are the ones who should be tasked with helping the least fortunate in our communities, vulnerable communities. And so with that, I've decided to put together this Back to School Backpack Drive early so that we can get some assistance for students from single-parent households on the south side of Belize City. We are aiming for 300 backpacks, and so I have identified a company in the United States that does sale of backpacks in bulks, and so we're trying to raise a certain amount of money from local and international donors so that we can then procure the bags, have them shipped to Belize and distributed sometime in the month of August, early August, in preparation or in anticipation of the next school year. We have two ways that we go about identifying potential recipients. We will be using schools, principals, and so we have that resource at our hands from building relationships through the media with principals over the years. So they will help us identify some of their students, and as well what we will be doing is that we have done some of the groundwork already in terms of going into different communities on Southside Belize and identifying single parent households and the need that they have in terms of how many children in this particular single-parent household are going to school, check their level of need, and so that's another way we have been on the ground actually doing that assessment already.
When we hear the term child labor, many envision children in sweatshops or doing hazardous mining, or they think that child labor laws prohibit children from doing all jobs. To clear up the misconceptions and look at what is and isn't considered child labor in Belize, today, the Ministry of Labor observed World Day Against Child Labor. Government officials got together with students at the Center for Employment Training in San Ignacio for some special events. News 5's Andrea Polanco was there.
Now, end child labor. It's a global call that the Ministry of Labor has joined for World Day Against Child Labor.
Belize is proud to join forces with the International Labor Organization, the ILO, and all its members to put the spotlight on our children. Do you know of a child in your community who is under the age 14, who is not in school and involved in hazardous work, gang violence, prostitution, or commercial sexual exploitation? Let us do something now, today, to stop it.
And so to take action, the day is used to bring stakeholders together to highlight the plight of child laborers and what we can do to help them. The Center for Employment Training in San Ignacio is one technical vocational partner that plays a crucial role in eradicating child labor.
Approximately 50% of Belize's labor force is comprised of primary school graduates or lower qualification. So that's supposed to really be shocking. If you stop and think about it, what does that mean? At what age does someone complete primary school? I remember leaving at the age of 12. Maybe some people at the age of 13. But imagine if now you're saying that they have less than a primary school qualification. And that means that are less than 12 years old. And so, if we analyze that, that's kind of scary. Because it could mean that some children are being exploited or taken advantage of. And that's why it is institutions like these and the concerted effort of all of our government agencies that can come together and do our part. Our part would be, instead of having child labor or people or small young individuals employed against their will, let them come and get an education here. Let them learn trades, skills, so that they can be productive, and with the proper certification, then enter the workforce.
It is important to note that not all work done by children is classified as child labor. The work that harms children mentally, physically, socially, and morally is the kind of labor that is targeted for elimination.
That is the message we want to put there. It cannot be that children cannot work, because you and I have worked, but we do light work and work that is under supervision and work that is done in a safe environment. Because doing those activities, light work, you learn new skills, you learn work ethics, you learn how to cooperate, how to collaborate, and how to contribute to nation building. So it is not that children should not work. The message is, let's protect the rights of our children. Let's have them in school so that they can be the best they can while we honor our international obligations.
What do we know about the status of these worst forms of child labor?
Well, we do labor inspections, child labor inspections, and we go around. We travel the length and breadth. So, and you see too, because there are construction sites, you see children, young children on ladders, yeah? You see children in the agricultural field without protective gears, doing dangerous jobs, yes? So, and we know of cases in the tourism sector where children are engaged in prostitution. Now, if it's one child too many, and that is something we need to do. So even though the problem may not be as worse as in some countries, if it is one child who is engaged in child labor, it's one child too many.
And that awareness begins with those who are susceptible to the hazardous forms of labor, our Belizean children. To engage them, the Ministry of Labor hosted a competition where the set students debated whether we can end child labor.
Every child learns differently. Many times children are unable to problem solve, especially in subjects like mathematics or other life-related topics. Resources required to trigger an individual's education are not provided in most classrooms.
Although children have many rights, in some developing countries, these rights are not always protected. Older, manipulative adults are taking advantage of children to make a profit for themselves. This is known as child labor, and it happens more frequently than people realize.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.
World Day Against Child Labor is officially celebrated on June 12th. When we return, COVID may be stopping the full-on carnival in Grenada, but their Prime Minister is giving people a chance to do some small-scale celebrations. This story and more when we come back.
My name is Star, and I'm a Belizean trans man.
Star is a very fun person, very outgoing, a very friendly person, and quite a charming individual, to just spend some time with.
Dalila is a friend of mine. She's one of my only friends that have been very supportive.
I have so much admiration for Star because I was never aware of the kind of discrimination that Star faces for just being who he is and being true to himself.
It's important to have allies that will respect me no matter what.
For me, being trans, being gay, being lesbian, doesn't matter to me, it doesn't.
Live and let live. Respect for all Belizeans.
It's a fact that with Smart, you get truly unlimited everything. Only with Smart, you get unlimited data anytime, while with the other guy, it's only double data on weekends. With unlimited data every day with Smart, there's no need to wait. So, it's a fact that our unlimited plans beat the competition. Stop being measured and told when to use your data and get unlimited talk, text, and data. Experience the true unlimited plans with Smart. That's a fact. Make the switch and live smart.
2020 taught us the importance of being connected to the virtual world, and NextGen is here to keep its commitment to you. Even if you're physically apart, NextGen keeps you digitally connected.
Okay everyone, thank you for following me today.
NextGen provides more than just an internet plan. They provide service plans that support all your online needs. Sign up today and get your NextGen's ultra high-speed internet service. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
Hola, Tony.
Hey, Kevin, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué pasa?
Nada, le vine a buscar porque necesito comprar más mercancías de vasos y platos desechables para mi tienda de comestible. Me estoy quedando sin esas cosas.
No, hombre, fíjate que desde el 15 de abril no puedo importar nada de eso. Y se me acaba de terminar todo lo que tenía hace como 3 semanas.
Oye, pero nunca has estado sin esas cosas. ¿Qué está pasando?
Mira esto. Esta es la nueva ley que prohíbe todo el uso de plásticos no reutilizables. Esos son vasos, platos, cucharas, tenedores, todo eso. Desde 15 de abril de este año no he podido importar nada de eso. A partir del 15 de enero del 2021 nadie puede fabricarlo. 15 de abril 2021 nadie lo puede vender. Y a partir del 14 de julio del 2021 si alguien te agarra con eso, te multan.
Híjole, no sabía eso. Necesito cambiar algunas cosas. Les diré a mis clientes por qué esas cosas ya no están disponibles. Gracias, Antonio.
Así es, cuídate.
Police busted 5 people, including a minor, with 5 parcels of cocaine in Dangriga. According to police, a search was conducted at a residence on Poots Martinez Street on Thursday afternoon. They uncovered the 5 parcels of cocaine in a washing machine inside the house. Police detained Rashad Garcia, Anthony Castillo, Kevin Welcome, and a 16-year-old male. Charges are pending for all 5 individuals. In court news, a man who pleaded guilty to threatening his brother, hacking him with a machete, and then chopping up his personal belongings was given until September 30th to pay the 3 fines associated with the offenses. This morning, Vinicio Guevara admitted to Magistrate Audrey Greenidge that on June 8th, he went to his father's farm at Spanish Town in Maskell Village and got into a heated dispute with his brother, Donald Guevara. He admitted that he committed the offenses of aggravated assault, damage to property, and uttering threatening words, and said he did it out of frustration and anger because his brother, who he lives at home, does not help with bringing in any income to the family. Magistrate gave Guevara until the end of September to come up with $2,000 for the aggravated assault fine, $1,000 for damaging his brother's cell phone and other personal effects, and $50 for threatening him. A man and woman who have been in a common law union for over 16 years and brought charges of aggravated assault against each other ended up dropping the charges today in court and ending their relationship. The pair, 64-year-old Miguel Alamina and 38-year-old Chantel Renault, pressed charges against each other following a domestic dispute that ended up on the street across from where they live on Raccoon Street Extension on Thursday. While the pair admitted to have had a physical altercation with weapons drawn, they also admitted to filing the charges because of the malice they have held against each other for over the years. After the Chief Magistrate Sharon Fraser spoke to them about this anger and its effects on their family, the pair agreed to withdraw the charges and to separate on peaceful grounds for the sake of their 2 children. In news from the Caribbean, Grenada has cancelled its annual celebration due to COVID-19, but the Prime Minister is considering allowing some events to occur, with permission, and only if those involved can prove they are fully vaccinated. Here is more, courtesy of Caribbean Week in Review.
Although COVID-19 has forced the cancellation of Carnival in Grenada again this year, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell has said private promoters could be allowed to host cultural events. He made the disclosure during a media conference on Wednesday, June 9.
There could be cultural activities, which some of it is associated with what takes place in Carnival. But I think in many churches had saying there is Carnival, that means Monday night mass, a massive jab all over the place, that sort of thing. I think you want to be careful until we have herd immunity. I think you want to be extremely careful. But if the promoters, for example, are moving ahead and promoting cultural activities and people are vaccinated as a condition to be participants in the activity, then certainly I think the COVID committee is looking seriously at that. And there are other initiatives of social activities that can be permitted with the condition of vaccination. And for example, if there might be in a small village, a group want to play a certain mass or want to do that, and they are all vaccinated and they apply for permission, I think the work will be done and permission will be given if the vaccination component is part of the process.
The Prime Minister acknowledged the need for people to be allowed to socialize, even amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
Let's face it, people are under stress. We have to realize, as much as we want to keep almost every activity out, we have to have outlets for people. And we are mindful of that. We as human beings, we are social animals. And the more you try to put unnecessary control on us, the more we might revolt. So this is better to do it, certain limitations and activities, but at the same time give people an opportunity to have some serious social interactions.
Just ahead, he's taking over after the death of 2 pilots. Find out what the new commander of the BDS Air Wing has set as his first priorities. But first, here is the weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
And in love, and I thought he loved me too. But now I know that a loving partner should not take away your choice of clothes you wear or the music you listen to. He should not take away your purse, car keys, or your phone so that when your family calls, you cannot answer. If your partner is controlling you, it is domestic violence. Call 0800 A Way Out or our cell phone number 672-9628. This message is brought to you by the National Women's Commission in collaboration with Miss Universe Belize with funding from the Engender and Spotlight Project.
Why should you wear your mask? To protect myself. My friends. My family and others. I wear my mask because I love my grandparents. With so many reasons to wear a mask, we continue to advise persons to wear a face mask properly, covering both nose and mouth. Together, we can keep Belize COVID-19 safe.
Es un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
The Belize Defense Forces Air Wing has a new commanding officer. Major Kenroy Smith took on the role on June 1st. He has also taken on the job of flight instructor of the BDF Air Wing after completing training with the Honduran Air Force. News 5's Paul Lopez met up with Major Kenroy at the BDF's Air Wing at the Philip Golson International Airport today.
Major Kenroy Smith succeeds commanding officer Major Adrian Ramirez, who died during a helicopter crash in March of 2020. But he is also succeeding deceased flight instructor Major Radford Beiser, who also died that day. Major Smith was third in command behind both fallen soldiers at the time of the incident.
Presently, we have 7 pilots here at the Air Wing, and we do have a series of aircraft engineers as well to complement the crew.
If you do, what is your philosophy when it comes to training, when it comes to flying, when it comes to your men and just operating this wing? Do you have a philosophy?
Yes, I do. I always strive to advise the guys to be as precise as possible, strive for perfection. And if at any point in time they feel unsafe or they feel unsure of a particular mission or a tasking or a particular maneuver, to just abort the mission and do not push yourself to the limit. You all know your limit, and so you know what is most comfortable for you.
Major Smith is trained to operate all aircraft in the Air Wing fleet. For Major Smith, safety is of top priority to prevent a reoccurrence of that helicopter tragedy.
For us here at the Air Wing, safety is paramount, and that is something that we have strived to improve, and we have made a series of improvement both in our way of conducting our operation and in terms of the way how we train. And so with that, we have tried as best as possible to improve all of our guidelines and maneuvers to ensure that we are operating within the safest means possible. As with any other unforeseen accidents or any mishaps, there are always lessons learned, and we do have some lessons that we would have take on board and try to rectify and remedy those, put the necessary mechanisms and procedures in place to prevent such a reoccurrence.
Major Smith says he enjoys the support of his unit as he takes on his new roles, first as the commanding officer and second as the flight instructor, roles that position the force for either success or failure.
Having me here as an instructor pilot just simply would afford the unit that operational capability, knowing that the pilots who are operating the helicopter are doing so within the guidelines and within our standing orders.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I am Brighton Cott. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.